Okay. All right. Just very, very quickly, I'm going to share with you how important this form is. There is not a single paperwork that you're going to get from me or my husband that is pointless and useless. Every single one of them has a huge meaning to it. So I just want to reiterate just a little bit. This is the customer intake form. Now, fill this form. Get to know these questions, okay? Because this is how important it is. This question filled out, when this goes to submit to your TC, holding in your hand is the value of at least a minimum of $5,000. This can potentially, filled out, has the potential to give you a $5,000 income, because the income of an average residential customer that goes solar is going to be a $25,000 range to an $8,000 range. And if your customer went through the extent to fill this form out with you, you probably have an 80% chance that next month this one sheet of paper is an average of $5,000. Okay, that's how important this paper is. Now, we can fill this out together, but I'm not going to do that for the sake of time. We started late, but this is probably not going to take you more than 5 minutes to fill it out with your customer sitting there, just asking them basic information. Now, most of this information is going to come from their utility bill. Okay, so you can just grab the utility bill, ask them a few additional questions, and then move on. Do you have a swimming pool? We need to know that. Are you on a well, a septic system, a well pump? Or do you plan on getting an electric car? All of those questions are not just filling up a form. Those questions are going to design and tailor-make a solar system to that customer. Now, there was a time where Sunrun and some of these other companies did not tailor systems to the customer's needs. They would say, I'm going to put 12 panels on everybody's house, and that's what you get. We don't do that. We tailor the solar systems to that customer's needs. So if they plan on going to get an EV charger or a car, electric vehicle, we want to make sure that in 2 years that their system is not useless to them, because we've created that for them. So this is a very, very important document. So love this paper. Get accustomed to the questions that are on this intake form. Pile up your intake forms. You can calculate each intake form as $5,000, because I can nearly guarantee that everyone is going to make at least $5,000 per transaction, per residential project. And the reason why that I can say that is, and of course, you determine what you want to make. Sister, I know that you're just jumping in here, and some of them are new that are online. You determine what you want to make in solar. We have such a good, and it's called a red line, just really quickly. I know most of you know this, but a red line is where we calculated all of the equipment costs, we calculated on the installation costs, and we added that number up, and we know how much it's going to take for each person to have an installation on their property based on our equipments that we use and our inverters and batteries. The only thing that number does not include is a main panel upgrade. So if the house is old and you know that their electrical panel is outdated, some of those need to be upgraded. Some of them are over 20 years old and they do not pass code, and they're actually a fire hazard. Once we see that as a solar installation company, we're not going to go and add more solar and more power to that panel and increase the possibility of them getting a house fire. We are actually going to upgrade that panel for them, and the cost of that is $3,000. Now, we include it into the price of the sale. We do not accept cash from anyone outside of our contracts, so we'll actually include it, and $3,000 over 25 years is not a lot of money to our customers at all. But how do we know that? Your intake form. Okay, so get excited when one of these are filled out, because it's at least an 80 to a 90% chance that you just struck gold. You just made about 5,000 bucks, okay? Now, if you stood in a line at the 7-Eleven and you bought a scratch-it ticket and you found out, oh my goodness, I just won $5,000, some of us would be very, very excited. Get that excited when you get this form filled out, okay? Because that's basically what it is. That's the way that I see this intake form. So please, 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 if you don't have this downloaded, get it on just a simple, on a photo. However you make it a simple process for you, get this filled out, okay? 80% chance you just struck the winning lottery ticket, 5,000 bucks, okay? So that's what this means to me, and I want to share that. Make sure. So get you 2 or 3. Start piling up every single month. If your customer does not go solar after taking this in, we have a process for that. If they decide, hey, I'm going to wait a little bit, did you waste your time? No, you didn't, because they're going solar. Trust me, everyone in California is going to be out of the loop of things, out of the trend if they do not go solar. That they're just not going to be, once you see a house with solar and a house not with solar, I'm going to buy the one with solar because I know that my PG&E bill is less, right? I'm going to know that there's some sort of security with that. So get it filled out, because eventually they're going solar, and you want them to circle back around and come to you. I would say amen right now, but we're not at church. This is a business meeting, but you know what I'm talking about. So take you extras and print you out and have them and pile them up on your home office desks. Amen. Now I'm going to move on from that. I just wanted to touch base very, very quickly. I'm going to try and share my screen with you guys on Zoom. Caleb, can you log me in on Zoom here? What? I mean on my computer. I need to show the group. Show the group really quick. Just some basic things really quickly. Decided to update. Yeah.
Oh,
Should it be?
here.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to wait for that.
Okay.
I mean, you could print it out and write it, but my suggestion is just
All right, guys.
that way you can email it to them.
I want to share my Zoom on my computer is updating for just a minute. I'll get there in just a minute to show you some pictures. But right now, I just want to talk about, just very, very quickly, the success in the solar industry. This is not boring facts. This is actually facts from the Solar Industries Associations, okay? So this is not me. This is not my facts that I've created. Okay, the Zoom is up now, Caleb. These are not facts that I've created. These are actually the solar industry across the United States has a board, or has a like a board, a committee, and these are their facts. So I wanted to share that with you tonight, because this is going to be amazing, and some grafting charts for both the commercial and residential. And I just want you to see the opportunity that you're in, okay?
You want to share your screen?
Not now, but yeah. Thank you, darling. Okay. All right. So, the success in the solar industry. There is a U.S. solar industry, as you know it. Now watch this. There's a China solar industry. There's an Africa solar industry. There's a Middle Eastern solar industry, an Asian solar industry, a Canadian solar industry is sweeping the globe. The solar industry is sweeping the globe. Even with the current challenges facing the market that we do have, because there are challenges in every industry, and there are challenges in the solar industry market. But even the challenges in the solar industry market, the solar industry is looking at many, many years of sustained growth and strong growth, because there's still millions and millions and millions of megawatts that we need to install to secure our electrical grid. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Photovoltaic solar accounted for 54% of all new electricity generating capacity additions in the first quarter of 2023. So, in other words, 54% of renewable energy is coming from solar. What other industry can you actually look at in saying that is growing this fast, is this popular, and still has way more room to grow? What other industry, I mean, can we think of it, just take 2 seconds, 3 seconds and think, what other industry is doing this? I mean, I hear the, what's her name? The singer is really popular right now. What's her name? Some singer that was just in the Bay Area a couple weeks. I hear she's really popular and she takes headline news. But what was that? Taylor Swift. I heard Taylor Swift was really popular right now. But what else is really popular? What other industry is taking the globe? There's really not. None that I can think of off the top of my head that is. But the solar industry is taking the world because you can go off grid. Nobody owns the sun. Nobody owns it. Nobody can stand between the sun and your rooftop and say, I'm going to charge you. Now, they do that on electricity through the transmission lines because that's what PG&E is. PG&E does not own electricity. PG&E is not the originator of electricity. PG&E is the maintenance man, okay? He's the guys that maintenance the power poles. And because they maintenance geographical areas of power poles, they're able to charge, I know all you sales reps know this, they're able to charge transmission fees and distribution fees. So when you look on your bill and you see a transmission fee, that's because the guy allowed you to transfer your power through the line. Not because they originated it, manufactured it, or owned it, only because they maintenance power poles. Have you ever seen a tipped over power pole? I have. As a matter of fact, I seen one almost down just the other day, and I was very upset about that. Because they're not even willing to take the money of their profits and put it back into certain air, even if it means this can cause a fire, because they're securing profits. Every single cent is to secure a profit. So they are generating, there's transmission and distribution, and if you go look at your PG&E bill, you will see what I'm talking about, and I'm not just saying this. So the solar industry is taking the entire world, right? And I don't sound weird like some new age individual for saying that. There's actually, you could see it yourself. The U.S. solar industry expects to add records of new capacity in 2023 and moving forward. Now, I'm going to show you this graph here. This is where I'm going to share my screen because I want the commercial sales reps and I want the solar sales reps, residential sales reps to see this. Can you enable the participant screen sharing? It said host disabled participant screen sharing. Oh, reclaim host. Maybe if I reclaim the host. Okay, here we go, guys.
Is it going to be on the screen over there?
It should. I would like it to be up here. I'm not sure why it isn't up there. Can we share it up here, Caleb? Hopefully it'll just pop up over here on the screen for the people that are here. Is it coming up here? How do you put it there? Oh, I'm sorry, darling. I don't know how to put it up there. HDMI or something? Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. Now, you can see this online, correct? I hope you can see it on the... Okay, cool. All right, there we go. There we go, guys. All right. So This is solar installations from the year 2010, and you can see it down here, guys, all the way up to the year 2023. Now, this is the U.S. solar installations up until now. As you can see, solar is rapidly growing. I did want to take this and compare it with other industries that are growing. I just didn't have the time to do that. Not only that, if you can see it yourself, this is huge growth. Okay, so this is 2023. Commercial is in yellow. As you can see, commercial has more installations because the buildings are larger, so there's more panels that go up on those buildings. But comparison to commercial and residential, here in 2023, this is huge. This is just huge growth. Now I want to show you the U.S. PV pricing trends. Okay, so you can see again, the residential is now yellow and the commercial is green. So this is where, according to installations, you can see what's the price. And I wanted to share this with you because right here is where we like to sell our prices, right? Typically, we're selling around $350, $330 price per watts. Now, most of you know what that is. So if your red lines are at $255, that's the cost of all our installations and equipment. So anything above the $255 is basically you price per watt. That's what you sell it for. And I'm going to explain a little bit more to the new people on what that is. So I wanted you to see that this is the average price. But look at how far where they used to sell it at. $6.50. They used to sell them at $6.50. Can you imagine how much profit that is in there? That's a lot. So we like to stay around the $3.50, and I wanted you to see this because you can sell them all day long at $3.50, and just fine. And that's standard. Anything above or below that around, go ahead.
No question. At the 355, let's just say you say, will that include the new meter? MPU?
The MPU upgrade, on most of ours, I don't think you had the MPU upgrade, but on most of ours, you can add it and adjust around that MPU upgrade. Yeah, so you can sell it at $350, and then the adders get added on top of that.
Yeah, you said, just explain the add-on.
Okay, so if you decide you're gonna sell at $3.50 on residential project,
Which
okay?
is high. We've been selling below that.
Yeah, we've been selling around $3.30. Residential, we're around $3.30, $3.50, something like that. Okay, so if you sold $3.50, let's just use that number because that's the rate, right? That's what they're selling for. You minus $2.55, which is your red line. That means you're making a profit of 95 cents per watt. So if you're selling, which most of our systems right now are a 10 kilowatt system, if it's gonna make sense at all to the customer, it's gonna be a 10 kilowatt system. So you just take 95 cents times 10,000, because 10 kilowatts is 10,000, So it would be $9,500. That would be your commission, okay? But if the system total cost, so you're gonna take 350 times 10,000, that means their system is $35,000. Does that make sense so far? So if you minus 9,500, then it's 25.5. So if you minus your commission, then it's 25.5. Does that make sense so far? Okay, so if you needed to add an MPU, right, then you would just push 3,000. You would just add 3,000 to the 25, and it's 28.5. If you needed to add a new roof, you would plus, let's just say 15,000 for a new roof. And now the total price is 43.5, and that's a cash price. Okay, now it comes in where the financing is. So now you need to finance 43,500, right? And the interest rate and all of that comes into play at that point. Now, our financing and our dealer fees are excellent. We just made a change and, a great financing connection, and it's just amazing. As a matter of fact, most people are spending I would say around $20,000 in fees The last proposal that I drew in fees was only $9,000. In comparison to what our fees are in financing and to what the solar industry fees are is crazy,
Do you want to explain dealer fees?
crazy amounts, okay? So a dealer fee is basically what a finance company charges to go solar. So if the finance company says you can't pay cash, just like any other thing, well, there's a cost to borrow. And the dealer fees in the solar world, because they know that everybody wants to go solar, so they keep raising these dealer fees. I think in some solar companies have their financing options at close to nearing 40% dealer fees. That's 40% of their, if it's $40,000, it's 40% of that is a dealer fee. So it's huge on our financing connections. Now, because of that, remember, we want to just add quality to the customer. We don't want to use that as saying, oh, now I'm going to go and make more money. We already have a comfortable margin in that. We want to make sure that our customers are now taken care of because of these dealer fees are so less. So you want to add that battery. You want to add that quality tier 1. As a matter of fact, the screws, the bracketing systems that we use, they are iodinized, which means they don't rust and rot. Most companies do not. They would rather not put the expense into that and put it into themselves. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're doing good to the customer because, in my opinion, we're already getting paid well. Does that make sense? Question?
Yeah. So when the company quotes how much the monthly payment is that before finance charges or, how does that work? Let's just say you quote somebody, okay, it's going to cost you $265 or a month to go solar. Does that already include the interest rate?
It includes the dealer fee already. Now the interest rate is then calculated over the years.
And that's why the intake form is important, because on the intake form, that's where you put, what are they looking financing? Are you going to pay cash, or are they looking to purchase, lease, or do the PPA?
Yeah, so if they're looking to purchase it, like you gave me that quote for those people?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm still talking to them. They saw, oh, that's not bad. They were like content with it, right? They were like, I was thinking, wait a minute, does this include the interest rate? That's what I was thinking when they were hit or whatever.
Yeah, because sometimes a lot of individuals will re-amortize. They'll put down their tax credit, or they'll put down, $5,000 and re-amortize their loan. So the overall interest rate is calculated per month. Yeah, so that extends over 20, 25 years.
Deal. It did include everything, though, right?
It depends on. I'd have to look at it again just to make sure that if it did or if it didn't. You're talking about the actual final cost, right?
Maybe one with the roof and without the roof.
I remember that. Yeah. So at the top of my head, to answer it correctly, I would have to go and look back.
You didn't give them a cash?
No, I didn't give you a cash offer.
So the payment included financing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it would have included it if we used financing options, yeah. And then so for the commercial side, now of course, commercial consists of, typically it's 250 kilowatts, and we gotta talk about commercial for a little bit, because we do have at least 4 or 5 individuals that are commercial reps. Is usually typically gonna be around $1.50 all the way up. It just really depends on the system size. So the higher the system, then the lower we start bringing down that cost per kilowatt. Okay, so 200 kilowatts, we're probably going to be around $3 or less. 250 kilowatt system, we're going to start dropping our price because you just can't make that much money in something, a 250 kilowatt system. But if you're around a 30 to 150 kilowatt system, you can safely sell those and be still a good sale between $2.80 to $3.30, $3.20, somewhere around there, and still be safe and still be a good system. But so, yeah, as you can see, the cost to go solar has dramatically decreased. It's making it lucrative for people to say, oh, sure, I'll go solar. Why not? It's a lot cheaper than it was before. Okay? The U.S. solar industry is a 50-state market, while California is still the dominating the solar industry today. It's still the best place to go solar. The solar industry is expected to nearly triple in development by the year 2028, and I want to show you that on the graph. Again, this does not come from me. This comes from the committee that runs the Solar Development and Energy Committee in the United States. So you can see this. Now, this is the projections. The last couple of slides were just the projections until the year 23, and this one is going all the way up until the year 2028. And you can see residential is blue, right? So we're still right here in 2023, and it's still going to grow by the year 2028 in residential. And this is across the United States, not only in California. So only in California, it'll probably be a little bit, more than that. But I also want you to see what commercial markets are doing. Look at the commercial market. It's doing the same thing as residential and still growing just successfully. As a matter of fact, the commercial market has sustained all the way through the years and even until the year 2028. Both residential and the commercial market is projected to still increase until that year. And then the green is community solar, which is becoming more and more popular. So, really quickly, so then why do solar companies go out of business? Okay, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit because there is that out there, what if the solar company goes out of business? Why do solar companies go out of business? And I did a research today, and there was 2 top answers why solar companies go out of business. The solar industry is growing, so you may be wondering why a solar company goes out of business. There are many reasons why, but a more recent statistic has proven the top 2 reasons why. And I wanted to share this with this group today because the first reason is poor customer service. Okay? Only 0.1% of all solar companies focus on customer service. They are not customer service driven. They are installation driven. They only want to put solar on your roof, have you sign it and walk off and never talk to you or see you again. They are not interested in customer service. And the second reason is low quality equipment. Most people, they want to race to the bottom. And I wish all of our sales reps were on the call today. They're wanting to race to the bottom. What's the cheapest? And we're going to get it there for them. But we're not going to jeopardize quality for it. Okay? Mess with your commissions. We can mess with other areas. We could shop panels. But we don't want to get into the industry where we are jeopardizing the quality of our systems to our customers. Poor customer service. Many solar companies are more interested in installing solar equipment than they are in supporting the solar equipment that there is to their existing customers. So I wanted you reps to know this, and here's the reason why. Because when you're out there sitting across the table from somebody, you have to have the confidence that the company is going to do their part. And I'm not just sitting here going to look like a fool in 3 months when the system doesn't turn on. And when the customer calls, nobody's answering the phone. Okay? So when you're sitting with your customers, your family members, your relatives, you can be confident we are that 0.1% that is focused on customer service. Do you have a question, Rena?
Yeah. So once somebody gets solar installed, it's all based on the sun. So what do we need the solar company for? Like, what will we need them for at any point? Like, okay, the system stops working.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how often does that happen? So what will
That's actually I'm going to get into. So that's a very, very good question. So let me get to that point. So companies will lure consumers into buying cheap, substandard solar products with low prices and too good to be true offers. Those are lies. That's not true. There is no free.
Can I make a statement on that?
Yes.
Okay, so right now, you see advertised here in California, you can get panels for free. Has anybody seen that?
Yeah,
Okay.
YouTube Live, yes.
Yeah, so here's what that is, because I was like, you know, what they are selling you is a PPA program. You're not paying for the panels because you don't own the panels.
You're leasing them.
Yeah, it's like a lease. But then you lose the tax credit. So technically they're saying the truth, but you don't own the system, so that's why you're not paying for them. You're paying for somebody else's system.
And
So,
then it affects it if you're the owner to sell the house too.
correct. PPAs are usually harder for them to be transferable.
Okay. So when users experience problems or customers experience problems, installers do ignore their claims. And the reason why they ignore the claims, because installers only know how to install. They do not know how to fix, and they don't have customer relations in a lot of areas, or they don't have the back office support to answer the call because they're on roofs all day. So there's that reason why individuals. Now I want you to be secure in that we are going to answer the phone. We are going to get somebody out there, and I'll show you what we're implementing. A business that cannot provide solutions to customer complaints isn't going to have a good reputation, and those unhappy customers spread the word, and unfortunately, we get a bad name. We don't want that, ever. Eventually, their reputation catches up to them, and then the business goes out of commission or just stops working. Low quality equipment, cheap solar equipment might bring the initial cost down to go solar, but that low cost equipment is more likely to develop problems over time or more likely to develop problems in a shorter period of time. So they might get the inverter on there and it might work for a year, 2 years, and then problems start happening. There is equipment out there that does do that because we are not in a perfect world. We are in a world where people, they just don't install things correctly, or for whatever reason that may be, and whatever motive that may be. When we are signing contracts, you can be secured in that we are not that company, okay? If an installer isn't able to service equipment that fails, they might go out of business when you start getting so many complaints. So those are the two top reasons, and those are the two top reasons that we focus on. Customer service and equipment. We're very big in equipment. That's why I'm not interested in lowering our red lines. I mean, there might be some wiggle room for some cases, just for some, individuals that maybe they're doctors, nurses, first responders, and things like that. That we have, let's discuss certain areas. Elderly, we have elderly programs and things like that. But as far as racing to the bottom, we don't want that. We don't want that for our customers. Sales reps, now here's what I did want to implement, our training. We will have a training for the sales reps to reboot system failures, okay? The safest way possible for all of the sales reps to know how to reboot a system. Now remember, the inverter is a software. So it's just kind of like, how did I just fix this TV and get me on Zoom? I went and called my son, come over here and help me. Basically, that's what a sales rep is going to do, going to learn. Just a basic rebooting of the inverter. Sometimes after a blackout, some inverters, no matter what make it is, the inverters will not turn back on after some blackouts. Most customers, they don't even want to touch the system because they think they're going to get electrocuted. So they're a little bit, with that.
Solar energy.
Yeah, they don't want to touch nothing on the side of the house. But the sales reps, just know that if you have a customer that we did not do the install, part of customer service, just go around and we're going to train you on how to reboot the system by the app, and I'll show you right now. Sometimes the system fails by a bad install. I don't recommend any of our sales reps climbing up the roof and looking at, wiring or anything like that. Now, that is unsafe. So you don't want to do that. But if you go, I want to show you a picture of a bad install. This is in California. This is hot wire sitting outside of the panels. All of these panels, all of these wiring should be tucked in and clipped underneath the panel. So this is a bad install. So this is, a lot of your customers are going to come to you, maybe that they already have bad installs, but once you peek up, off of a lap, just peek up safely and see if you're rebooting a system, this will be one of the things to watch out. Are your wires dangling down? Did a bird, try and carry one off? This is a California install. This is PVC piping that they used on the roof. This is what happens when you race to the bottom. When you have red lines that are at 210. I had a guy contact me the other day, bring me your whole team and we'll give you 210 red lines. I said 210 of garbage or 210 of quality. He never answered me back. You cannot run power lines through PVC. But to save costs, they went and ran the power lines through PVC instead of conduit, the conduit that they use. Look.
That's water powered. Oh, and he's standing on it.
He's standing. This is
Oh my God.
your typical. This is not uncommon. This is what you get when installers are not professional. You get what you pay for. Well, if I saw somebody right there standing on that, he wouldn't have another roof to stand on to fire him on the spot. That's the install. Now, I want to share with you, oh, look at this one was funny. It's hanging off the roof. The panel didn't fit. The panel is what is this, almost a foot off the roof? And I mean, they can catch wind. So those are just images of poor quality system installs. I'm going to share with you pictures of the installers that we have on our team. I was trying to get one on tonight to come and introduce himself. He had an appointment tonight, but this is our installers, not that one. Let me show you our team installs. This right here. This entire project right here, our team installed this. The guys who are installing on your customer homes installed this. It's flawless. This is a flat roof. It's got tilt bracketing system in there. Iodinized, I don't know how to say that word. The screws will not rust with water over time. It's an excellent install. Now this he sent me from his phone. I know these are his installs. This is another one of their installs. Just amazing, amazing work. They do carports. This was their install. So the guys that are doing this type of work are the same team that's installing on your roofs. So you can be sure that a person that can do that is highly professional. Look, there's no gaps here. No wires hanging. All of this. It's just amazing. It's just great installation work. So how many of you are glad about that? Yeah, I'm very, very happy about that. And let me get the text really quick. Oh. I agree, Nathan. We definitely need to do that. And this team is not a team of they are fast, they're just great workers. I can't say enough about them. In our next meeting, if we can make sure that everyone's on, I will like to introduce you to our installation manager.